Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at a stack of sources that, well, they all spawned from one single chaotic viral moment.
It was a screenshot, wasn't it?
So that's just a screenshot. But it exploded online. And it's kind of merged these two huge things, high-stakes international diplomacy and, that personal panic you feel when you see something in your feed.
That's a perfect way to put it. When you see a single graphic that claims to just summarize a massive shift in foreign policy, our mission here has to be forensic.
Forensic. I like that.
Yeah. We're here to figure out the absolute verifiable truth behind this wildly circulated claim.
What's the claim exactly?
That the United States has allegedly banned travel for the president of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema.
And not just him.
No, and all Zambian citizens, a blanket ban.
And what really gives this claim that viral stickiness is the alleged motive, the why.
Of course.
The rumor explicitly says this total travel ban is geopolitical punishment.
Or what?
Because Zambia rejected a specific mineral deal with the U.S.
So it's a perfect storm of drama. You've got a powerful head of state, a major economic deal, and then this immediate drastic retaliation.
Exactly. So our deep dive today is designed to cut through all of that noise.
Right.
You want to arm you with the specific, confirmed facts,
Yeah.
the institutional realities that let you just, instantly dismiss or confirm this kind of thing when it hits your feed.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's unpack the claim itself, because the sheer scale of it is breathtaking. It targets two groups,
Right. First, the Zambian head of state.
which on its own is a major diplomatic incident, and then maybe even more sensationally,
All Zambian citizens.
all of them. We are talking about a blanket ban on entry to the United States for an entire country's population.
And the mechanism here is just as important as the content itself. Our sources show this is circulating as an unverified screenshot.
Just an image file.
Exactly. And that visual medium, it gives it this deceptive air of being official.
Like it's clipped from a news report or something.
Right. Or an official warning when in fact it's bypassed every single traditional editorial check.
When you see a claim that big a punitive action against an entire sovereign nation, the first question has to be, why a screenshot?
It's a great question.
If the U.S. Department of State actually implemented a total travel ban, it wouldn't be in a grainy third-hand graphic. It would be front-page news globally.
Precisely. And in this digital age, sometimes a lack of information actually fuels the fire,
How so?
Well, when people can't find the official press release to back it up, they might think, it must be hidden.
Or censored.
Exactly. Which just accelerates the spread of the first unverified claim. It's a vicious cycle.
And the drama around President Hichilema specifically, that just turbocharges the sharing, doesn't it?
It makes it personal.
Yeah. It's not just a policy change anymore. It's
Yeah.
a direct insult to a head of state.
Yeah.
So it becomes fertile ground for political mobilization, for debates within Zambia itself.
It creates what we call a credibility vacuum. If the president's travel is suddenly restricted, it generates immense domestic pressure on the Zambian government to explain why.
Regardless of whether the rumor's even true.
True or not, it's classic high-leverage disinformation. The goal is to sow political chaos, first and foremost.
So we agree this is a high-stakes, high-impact claim. We have to move straight to the verifiable facts. And this is where it gets really interesting. How do we even start to verify or debunk a diplomatic action of this size?
Well, if the U.S. government were to actually implement a total travel ban targeting an entire country, the official paper trail would be overwhelming.
There's no hiding it.
No. And that brings us to the core of the factual counterpoints from our sources. We can say definitively this claim is not supported by any official statement.
From whom?
From the United States government or, and this is crucial, the government of Zambia itself.
The silence from the two main players is deafening. Well,
Yeah.
let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Go for it.
For the sake of, anyone listening who might be wondering, is it possible for the U.S. to issue some kind of, a highly secretive, low-profile ban?
Yeah.
Maybe temporarily. Something that wouldn't immediately show up on the State Department website.
That is a great question, but the legal and logistical reality just makes a secret blanket ban impossible.
Impossible.
For a true sweeping travel restriction on an entire nationality, you need a presidential proclamation. It typically cites Section 212 of the Immigration and Nationality Act.
And that's a public process.
It's a public, legally mandated process. It is not something the president can just tweet out or, slip a note to Customs and Border Protection.
Okay, so it's not a backroom deal.
Absolutely not. It involves multiple layers of government, public notice, legal implementation. First, the White House issues the
My
proclamation.
bad.
Second, the State Department has to immediately communicate this to all U.S. embassies and consulates around the world,
So they'd stop issuing visas.
instantly. And third, the Department of Homeland Security and CBP have to enforce it at all ports of entry.
That sounds like trying to hide an elephant in a broom closet. A change that big affecting visa processing, airline manifests, customs, it just can't be done in secret.
It cannot. The sheer bureaucracy, the scope of a ban like that, would require a public, centralized policy announcement. We've seen similar actions in the past.
And they always make news.
Immediate, massive international news coverage. Official government warnings. The absence of any official communication from the White House, the State Department, or the U.S. Embassy in Lusaka is definitive proof the claim is false.
So what's the reality on the ground for Zambian citizens trying to travel right now?
The sources confirm that travel is proceeding normally.
So people are still getting visas.
Yes. Zambian citizens are still applying for and receiving valid visas, and they continue to enter the United States under authorized categories. This fundamental, observable reality it completely demolishes the claim of a total blanket ban.
Because if the ban were real,
The process would have ground to a halt overnight.
that's critical context. So now, let's connect the dots. We've established that the total ban is false, but sometimes a rumor, it twists a small, genuine policy adjustment into a huge crisis. Is there any evidence of that?
Yeah.
A smaller change that might have been misinterpreted.
And that's the necessary nuance we have to bring in. Visa policies adjust constantly.
Sure.
Processing times change, fees fluctuate, maybe certain visa categories face more scrutiny in one country or another. But the source material is explicit here.
What does it say?
It clarifies that while these adjustments exist globally, they are routine administrative steps. They are not blanket bans. A bureaucratic shift in processing time it's a million miles away from closing the border to an entire population.
Okay, let's turn to the motive, because that's often the most compelling part of a rumor like this.
It's what makes it believable.
It was a ban as geopolitical retaliation tied to Zambia rejecting a mineral deal. What's the context there? Why would minerals lead to such an aggressive U.S. reaction?
To really understand how absurd the retaliation part is, we have to look at the motivation. Zambia is critical to the global supply chain.
For minerals like copper and cobalt.
Exactly. Things that are vital for green energy technology. So the U.S. absolutely has a strategic interest in securing those resource supply lines, especially with competition from other global players.
So the stakes are genuinely high. That makes the motive plausible on the surface.
It does. But here's why the retaliation, the mechanism they claim, is utterly implausible. When the U.S. wants to exert geopolitical pressure or show it's unhappy about a failed deal, it uses specific, targeted, well-established tools.
Such as?
They might impose targeted sanctions on specific people linked to the decision, or they could reduce foreign aid packages, withdraw support for World Bank projects, impose specific tariffs.
More like a scalpel.
A scalpel, not a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
These measures are aggressive, sure, but they are surgically precise. Using a total travel ban on every single citizen, students, tourists, business travelers as crude payback for a mineral dispute would be diplomatically destructive.
And economically self-defeating for the U.S.
Completely. You're saying the diplomatic cost of banning an entire population would far outweigh any benefit from winning one mineral deal. It just violates decades of diplomatic norms.
It would. It would signal to every other nation in Africa that the U.S. uses its immigration system as a weapon of first resort.
And you'd instantly alienate dozens of critical partners the U.S. is trying to court. It would sabotage U.S. foreign policy goals across the entire continent. The consequence is just totally disproportionate to the alleged offense.
And crucially, no matter how plausible it might sound, the sources confirm there is zero credible evidence.
Zero.
No link between any U.S. travel policy ban or adjustment and Zambia rejecting a mineral deal.
The two concepts, the policy change and the motive, they were just manufactured and stitched together inside the rumor itself to create a compelling story. The link is the fabrication.
It's designed to give you that aha moment.
Exactly. Now I know why the ban happened. By providing that economic and political hook, the disinformation becomes much harder to just dismiss at first glance.
It's a textbook case of leveraging existing geopolitical anxieties, the fear of foreign power over resources, to sell a complete lie.
That's the core of it. The lack of an official statement, The logistical impossibility of hiding a policy this big, and the sheer diplomatic self-sabotage involved. It all points to the same conclusion.
That this rumor never left the screen it was typed on.
Precisely.
Which brings us to our wrap-up.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean? Well, it means the specific sensational claim of a total travel ban on President Hichilema and all Zambians linked to a rejected mineral deal is definitively false.
It's unconfirmed, unsupported, and it's contradicted by the reality of international travel and diplomatic norms.
And this leads us to the essential takeaway, which builds on everything we've talked about. This wasn't just a mistake or an error in reporting.
No, this was a high-grade piece of disinformation. It was designed to provoke a political reaction.
We often talk about verifying facts, but let's go a bit deeper than that. The importance isn't just checking official sources before you share something.
It's about recognizing the signature of sophisticated disinformation.
What do you mean by signature?
When you see a claim that provides both sensational drama and a perfect conspiratorial motive, but the only source is a third-hand image, your internal critical thinking firewall should go up immediately.
The purpose of that content isn't to inform.
Not at all. It's to incite a reaction and to create diplomatic strain where none actually exists.
So let's leave you with this final thought, building on that weight of diplomatic responsibility. If a piece of content you see claims a government has taken this massively destructive, unprecedented step like a blanket travel ban affecting millions, but it lacks any official confirmation from the White House, the State Department, or even the affected country's government, what core responsibility does that place on us? It's not just the responsibility to check a link. It's the responsibility to recognize that by simply clicking share, we are lending our own personal credibility to a manufactured political weapon. We're contributing to real-world diplomatic strain and public anxiety.
That decision to just pause, to take a breath and verify, that in itself is a crucial act of citizenship in the modern information landscape.
A heavy thought to chew on before you add fuel to the next viral fire. That was our deep dive into the U.S.-Zambia travel rumor. Thanks for learning with us.